Okay. صباح الخير من أمريكا. Buenos dias. It is the first Friday of December, and I am doing my fifth webinar live on YouTube. So maybe it's nighttime in your country, I don't know, but it's noon here on the East Coast in the United States. And I know that the audience has been a little light for my webinars, but I'm hoping that the information that I'm giving and when the live videos are then posted to my channel can help someone later on when they're posted and they find it. So my goal is really to just connect with people in any country hoping to study in the United States in a more personal way, one-on-one, and to hear maybe what might be holding you back from studying abroad in the US, and talk about it on Fridays. So I hope to see more people joining in the future, but if not, hopefully the information is helpful to you later on in some way. So make sure to check back on my channel every Friday if you want to be a part of the conversation. So today, this is going to be a lot of fun because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, which is foreign languages and English and studying English in the United States. Because I was a advisor at an English language institute at a university in the United States for ESL students. So we'll talk about what it's like to study English in the US. And then at the end, if anyone is on, we can do a little question and answer session. If not, that's fine too. And I'll let you know where you can find more information. More in-depth information about studying English in the US and other topics in my online course. So let's get started. So if you are watching this video later or you're on the live version right now, kind of want to know like why you're watching the video. So why are you here? Is it one, because you want to come to the US just to study English? Or two, you want to come to the US to study your major, but you know that you need a little bit more English first to be at that level where you can attend classes with Americans and understand, read, and write and speak well? Or is it three, that you saw a picture of me on a horse by the pyramids in the thumbnail and you got sucked into the video? If that's the case, then maybe you, after this video, you'll want to come to study in English in the US anyway. So stay tuned. I'll start a little bit with my story just so that you can get a background on why I'm talking about studying English in the US. This is one of my favorite topics because I speak Spanish and Arabic, and I have studied abroad in other countries to learn these languages as well. I specifically Spanish, but I worked at the Applied Language Institute in Kansas City, Missouri for 3 years as an advisor for ESL students specifically. So it was such an awesome job because I got to see international students arrive in the US with basic English and progress by a year or two to being able to speak with me and read and write in English well. And it was it's just a cool transformation to see from the time they arrived to a few semesters later or a year or two later when their English skills were awesome. So anyway, so today you're going to learn what it's like to attend an English language institute in the US. And just a side note, this is different. What we're talking about today, attending an English language institute in the US, is different from an English language company, which is another option that you have to study English in the US. And these are individual or private companies that offer English courses or maybe culture or pronunciation. But they're like a business in the sense that they have their own building somewhere in a city and you attend English classes there. So they are not usually attached to a college or university that has bachelor's and master's and PhD degrees. It's just a separate company or organization that offers English classes. So that's not what we're talking about today. We are focusing on English language institutes that are attached to or part of another college or university. They're on campus. So to start, before you arrive at one of these institutions, you maybe see the name of an English language institute as an English language institute, applied language institute like the one I worked at, an English language center. So they have different names depending on the college or university that you're attending when you're searching for an English program online. So it just means they're a building on campus at a college or university that offers English instruction, either for students that do not have a high enough TOEFL or IELTS or other English test score to start their academic major right away, or students who just want to come and study English only. So you can do either one at an English language institute at a college or university. So these institutes are also a great option if you want to continue on to study your major or academics at the same school, the same college or university, because you will already have friends at the school that you made while you were studying English. You'll know the city, and you will not have to transfer to another school or location. And also, another benefit of that is that if you study English at a college or university and you go through their entire program and you complete their English program, like you graduate from their English program, that school will accept their own English classes or completion of their English program as acceptable to then start an academic program or major at the same school. So you should not have to take the TOEFL or IELTS or other English test again to prove that you are able to start your academic program. Now, this isn't the case at every single school. You may still have to take the TOEFL at the end of your English program, again, to make sure that you have a high enough score. But a lot of times, and this was the case at the two universities that I worked at, if you complete their English program, then that is acceptable for you to start your academic program after that without an English test score, without having to take another English test. So to apply to an English language institute or program, you'll need to find their application on the school's website and complete it, just the same as if you were applying to your academic major. So it's pretty simple. And if you're wondering if you need to take the TOEFL, IELTS, or other English tests before you arrive, then the answer is no if you are planning to start with English. So if you know that you're going to take English first, you don't necessarily have to take the TOEFL or IELTS because you already know that you need some English before you start an academic program. And if you have already taken the TOEFL, IELTS, or other English tests and did not get the minimum score that the school you are interested in needs for you to be fully admitted to your academic program, meaning you start right away when you arrive in the US with studying your major, then you will have to take English first anyways. So if you don't get a high enough English test score, then you will have to take English at the university when you arrive. So then you may be asking, okay, if I arrive in the US and I don't have a high enough TOEFL or IELTS or English test score, then what do I do? So when you arrive, you report to your school and your English Language Institute, and you take what's called a placement test. So the placement test will determine what level of English classes you will start in at that language institute. And I can give you an example of what an English placement test might be like. Sometimes you can take the test before you arrive online in your own country. And a lot of times you cannot, though. So when you come to the Language Institute, they'll probably give you a paper version of a test, which is what our institute did. And it will test you on writing, so writing short answers to questions, multiple choice questions about grammar, and reading a paragraph or a few paragraphs and then answering questions. Ahlan wa sahlan, ya Muhammad, كيف حالك? I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for joining. No problem, ما في مشكلة. I'm glad that you're here. And right now we're talking about the English Language Institute. When you arrive to the US, what you have to do. So when you arrive, you have to take what's called an English placement test, which I'll put in the, and welcome. Ahlan wa sahlan. So you will have to take an English placement test when you arrive to the United States. And this will include writing short answers to questions, multiple choice questions about English grammar, and reading paragraphs in English and then answering questions, and then usually an interview. So you will talk with someone that works at the English Language Institute, and they will ask you questions in present tense, past tense, and future tense. So for example, yeah, I'm so happy to have you too. For example, in the English interview, when you arrive, they may ask you, okay, what is your name? How many people are in your family? And then ask you past tense. So what did you do yesterday? And where did you go to school? Where did you go to high school? And then they'll ask you future tense. So what will you do tomorrow? What are you planning on doing while you're in the United States? Things like that. So an oral interview with someone that works at the English Language Institute to determine your level of English speaking and listening, understanding. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comments too, and I will answer those. Anything to do with English Language Institutes in the United States. So that's what you will be doing when you arrive to the US first, is to take this test to determine what level of English you currently have. And a lot of people ask, can I study for the English placement test? And the answer is really no, because the test is designed to determine what your level of English is right now. So you can't really study for the test beforehand. All right, so let's move on to the English classroom. Oh, yay, awesome. Okay. I will talk to you more about that. So when you are in an English classroom, what are you going to be studying? You're going to be studying English grammar, writing, reading, speaking, and listening usually. So under your listening comprehension, your speaking, vocabulary, and sometimes pronunciation classes too. And you will have English from Monday to Friday, every day of the week, if you are only in English. That is, if you're taking English and some classes in your academic major, then you may have a mixture of English classes and business classes, for example. So in your English classes, hopefully, you will have students from all over the world that are studying English like you. And you hope that you don't want to have a lot of students from your own country speaking your native language, because classroom, so the word classroom is like the place where you study. And maybe in Arabic the word is hessa. It's like al-ghurfa in where you study. Does that make sense? Wow, I don't know that word. Okay, so when you're in your classroom, you'll have students from all over the world with you studying English, and you really don't want to just talk with people from your home country. So in Arabic or Spanish or whatever is your native language. So try to avoid sitting with people from your country and talking to them in your native language in class, because that's the time for you to practice English. A lot of students are also worried about looking dumb, or when they speak English in class, they think maybe the teacher will judge them if they don't answer a question correctly or they say it incorrectly in English. But this is not the case. You don't need to worry about this because English classes are a perfect place to make mistakes and try what you're learning in English. The teachers know that you are not a native English speaker. Yeah, so they will encourage you and help you when you answer questions in English, even if you make mistakes in front of the whole class. It's okay. So the majority of Americans as well and teachers understand that you are learning English, you're trying to practice English, and you're not going to say everything perfectly correct. I want to talk about this because it is really important for your grade in your classes, in your English classes, to speak and to participate is the word. So your grade, which is like an A, B, C, D, or F, the grade that you get for the class depends partially on how much you talk in class. If the teacher asks a question and you answer the question, you get points. It's good. So you have to try to speak English in class, try to answer questions, participate with presentations and with group activities in English because it's part of your grade. So this is something that's new for a lot of international students. If in your country, for example, the teacher just talks and talks and talks the whole time, they just talk, and the students take notes, and the students do not have to speak or participate or ask the teacher questions. So Yeah, so it's different for a lot of people, a lot of international students who are from cultures or countries where they're just used to receiving all the information in class and they don't have to say anything. They can be quiet the whole class. In the US, that's not the case. And especially in English classes, because you have to practice speaking English, practice the grammar and the new vocabulary that you're learning in class. So your teachers really want you to talk, to answer questions in English, to ask your teacher questions in English, so that you can also get the points for your grade, if that makes sense. Trying to learn English. Mohammed, can you understand most of what I'm saying? فهمت? Participation points. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about a little bit are some tips or advice for you if you are learning English or you're coming to the United States to learn English. Yeah, the teacher talks all the time, right? I think in other countries that's very common. So if you're learning English, number one, do not hang out, do not spend time only with people from your country, or if you can, not at all. I know that might be hard because you're in a new country and you want to feel comfortable and be around people like you. But for learning English, the best advice I can give you is do not hang out, do not spend time with people from your country when you are in the United States, because it's easiest for you to speak your native language. So it's easier. Yay, awesome. It's easiest for you with someone from your country to speak your native language with each other, because it's your language and you can express yourself how you want, and like it's not hard, right? So resist the temptation to only spend time with people from your country when you're in the United States, because you can do that in your own country, right? You can talk to people in your native language. You can hang out with people, eat food from your country, do things that you would do in your country. So while you're in the United States, try your hardest not to only spend time with people from your country, because that's not the point of coming. And that also really, really slows down your English learning process. So yeah, so you need to really try to make friends with Americans or other international students so you can practice your English language. The second tip that I have is to live with an American host family. So when you arrive in the US, or before you arrive, you will have some different options for where you can live. That might be the dorms, like the dormitory on campus. That might be an apartment near campus that you rent. Or another option is to live with an American host family. And this is an excellent way to learn English, because you are forced, not to scare you, but you have to speak English to communicate. Okay, I want this for dinner. This is the time that I wake up, and just everyday communication with the family in English. It forces you to practice English every single day. So I highly, highly recommend an American host family. And some schools or English language institutes offer this for students, or you may have to do some research online and search yourself for a company where you can get matched with an American host family. And then my last suggestion or tip is to not be afraid to make mistakes and to be able to laugh at yourself, because learning a foreign language is really hard. And the best place, let me write that in the comments. So a host, American host family. So I understand from learning Spanish, living in Spain and Chile, that it's very difficult to learn another language, and you are very tired every day from translating back and forth. Okay, English, Spanish, or Arabic, English for me too sometimes. And you may be tempted to not talk to people around you because you're afraid of making mistakes or looking dumb or sounding dumb. But my suggestion is just don't be afraid to talk to a stranger on the street, talk to your American classmates, talk to your teacher in English, to practice, and this is the only way that you can learn. And if you make dumb mistakes, it's okay. Just laugh at yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. I can give an example of when I was studying in Spain, and I was trying really hard to practice with my teacher, and I needed to tell her in Spanish that I was going to come to her office later that day. And so I said, I will meet you in your soup in Spanish, like the soup that you eat, instead of I will meet you in your office later today. And we both kind of realized the mistake at the same time and just looked at each other and laughed. And I still remember the word for soup and the word for office in Spanish until today because of that mistake that I made. So just don't be too hard on yourself, and really try to make an effort to talk to people around you in English, because that's the best way to learn and to practice what you're learning in your English classes. All right, so that's it for today. Mohammed, do you have any questions, or anyone else? If you have any questions right now, you can type them in the chat and I can answer them before we finish the webinar. And while you're looking at that, I'm just going to mention again, so I have 3 different options for people who are interested in coming to the US. عندك سؤال محمد؟ عندك سؤال؟ عندك أي سؤال؟ Spanish. Okay, Spanish is another language. So Spani in Arabic, I believe is how you say it. So I speak English and I speak Spanish, and I'm learning Arabic still. So yeah, you want to come to the US to learn English. I went to Spain to learn Spanish, another language. لغة تانية. So, Mohammed, do you have any questions? Mohammed, عندك أي سؤال? While I talk about this, for people who are interested in coming to the US to study, I have 3 options for you. The first is a free mini course called How to Choose a School in the US. And this is a quick, easy, simple step 1 for how to come to the US to study. And it is, I've put the link in the chat and I will put it again at the end, and it's in the description of this video as well. But if you're wondering, like, where do I start? If I want to come to the US to study, where do I start? This little course is a good way to get you thinking and have a list of schools that you want to apply to. And then the other 2 options. Good, I'm really glad that this can help. And the other two options are my full course, everything from A to Z on how to study in the US. And then finally, the third option is one-to-one advising with me. If you want to have a video call like this, we'll do 3 one-hour video calls together, and I'll walk you through all the information. Okay. Walk you through all the information on how to come to the US to study, and it'll be personalized for your specific situation, wherever you are. And so I will put the description for all 3 of those in the link in the description of the video and the link in the chat. And yeah, and they are also discounted right now for 1 week. So the price is about $50 less than it usually is for the How to Study in the US course and the one-on-one advising with me. So you want to get in on that because that's only going to last for 1 week starting from today. So yeah, any other questions? I will want to come and study. Do you know where you want to study, Mohammed? Not yet? Well, if you have any other questions, you can also email me at info@advicefromabroad.com. In the chat too, advicefromabroad.com. And thank you so much for joining today. I hope it was helpful, and have a great Friday or Saturday, maybe. No, it's still Friday, I think. Friday in your country. So discounted price for 1 week. Yeah. And week is also spelled like this. Okay. Yep, sounds good. All right. If you have anything else, that's it for today. I hope this video was helpful, and if you're watching it later on, posted later, then feel free to put comments or questions in the comments if you want as well, and I can try to answer those. So bye, ma salama, adios, have a good day, happy Friday.